it finally happened. The day has finally come where Damian Lillard has finally been traded, and we do not have to talk about any more silly rumors or the Miami Heat and the Portland Trailblazers not talking, or what has happened with trade details, or Tyler Hero this, Tyler Hero that. I don't know, but it's all done with, and we can all finally rest. It's truly a great day for all NBA fans. I mean, most NBA fans, because, it's probably not that great if you're a Miami Heat fan. And, the large reason for that is because they let go of Max Strus and Gabe Vincent and had all these plans around Damian Lillard.
What the hell is that?
And, we now see how that's worked out. So, yeah. I'm sorry if you're a Miami Heat fan right now. This is probably a little bit of a sensitive subject. Anyways, there's no more beating the dead horse. The horse has been beaten to a bloody pulp at this point.
Dude, let's kill the horse.
What?
I'm so tired, Finn.
And we're done with it, so we can move on and talk about what this trade means and the fact that Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo are now teammates, and the rest of the league should be shaking in their boots. Obviously, the headliner of this deal, Damian Lillard going to the Milwaukee Bucks, but that means that Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, who I'm sorry I don't know who that is, a 2029 first-round pick and 2 pick swaps are headed to Portland. And that also means that the Phoenix Suns have gotten a little depth for themselves if they've traded DeAndre Ayton, obviously, as I mentioned, for Yusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson, as well as Grayson Allen. First off, just because get it out of the way, because it's not as much of a focus as obviously the two other teams, but Phoenix does get a little bit of a nice haul here. Not a haul, but they get some depth, which has really been a concern for them, as they've obviously traded for a star-studded starting 5, but they don't really have the necessary depth to go deep into the playoffs. That was a concern. They get some nice role players in Nasir Little, Grayson Allen, even Keon Johnson maybe can develop into a little bit of a nicer role player. He's still young, but what this does is it gives them an opportunity, at least for DeAndre Ayton, to go and flourish, hopefully, with a rebuilding team. They get a center back like Yusuf Nurkic, who is probably more susceptible to being able to play with guys like Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, where he doesn't need the ball as much. But Ayton is kind of a guy that thrives when he has the ball down lower in the mid-range area, because that's how he likes to score, and he came into the league kind of viewed as a scoring center. Anyways, I'm happy for Ayton to get a new opportunity in Portland, but obviously the big focus here now is that Milwaukee might be the best team in the NBA, and even though they lose Drew Holiday, who's obviously a perennial all-defensive player and one of the best defenders in the league, they still have Giannis and Brook Lopez, while also bringing in one of the best scorers of this generation. The Bucks have ultimately been slowed down a lot of the times in their playoffs by not having that go-to scorer or difficult shot creator when it comes down to those clutch moments and down the stretch of tight games. Giannis, as great as he is not a jump shooter, as we all know, and Chris Middleton's had some great runs in the playoffs, but he's been injured and not really 100%. And it's Damian Lillard. He's better than Chris Middleton. He's better than 95% of players at doing what I just said, making those difficult shots and scoring from all over the court, because he's Damian Lillard. So you add maybe the most freakish athlete and, body type, whatever Giannis is made out of, he's a freak, and you have that and generational interior score with someone who is one of the best perimeter shooters we've seen in the league ever. And the pick and roll, pick and pop situation there is going to be absolutely a nightmare for teams to guard. And coming down the stretch of games, I keep referring to that, but it's going to be super, super hard to stop this offense, especially with Brook Lopez spacing the floor. And then you're not even mentioning Chris Middleton, who's also an all-star level player himself. Obviously, the big question for Milwaukee is going to be who's that starting 2-guard spot and who's going to be on the bench. And I don't really care who's on the bench. It's going to be Bobby Portis, who's a 6-man of the year candidate A, and then a bunch of people from McDonald's if you want. I don't really care. This Bucks team can win with that starting 5 alone. I'm excited to see Adrian Griffin now. He's obviously coming in as a first-year head coach. He has some new plans and probably a whole new scheme offensively that he's going to run. And what better way to do it than have Damian Lillard and Giannis as your first year as a head coach? I mean, you can't really get much better than that. Even though losing Drew Holiday hurts, I don't think that defensively this team is going to be bad by any means. Damian Lillard, of course, isn't a great defender either, but I'm sure they can stick someone in there at the 2-guard spot who can hopefully make up for that lack of defensive ability from Dame, and you don't really need a scorer in that position because their other 4 starters are incredible and can all score from pretty much, they all know how to get to their spots and can score the ball. Brook Lopez, obviously a great shooter. He can even back down. He can shoot from mid-range. Chris Middleton's a pretty good 3-level scorer. Giannis obviously gets to the basket at will, and Damian Lillard, as I've said before, is just Damian Lillard. We know how good he is at scoring the basketball. And, looking in the playoffs, this team really just addressed maybe their biggest issue. And as long as the defense isn't abysmal, which, I don't think it will be because of how good Brook Lopez and Giannis are at protecting the paint, and their interior defense is always going to be elite with those two. So I just think that, Milwaukee really kind of made out, not like bandits, but they didn't give up all that much in reality. I mean, you look at what the Timberwolves gave up for Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry, I didn't want to mention Rudy Gobert. I'm not slandering Rudy Gobert, but like that trade just looks absolutely ridiculous now looking at what the Bucks had to give up for Damian Lillard, and obviously Damian Lillard's a little bit better of a player than him. We could probably talk about how good the Bucks are going to be for hours on end right now, but enough of that. I want to talk a little bit about, the losers of this trade, which I think everyone knows really is the Miami Heat. Losing Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, their whole plans were built around getting Dame in the offseason. They didn't do it, and now they have a giant hole at point guard. Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler are only getting older, and Kyle Lowry, quite frankly, isn't a starting point guard anymore. So they have this massive hole. They did some nice things bringing in Thomas Bryant, Josh Richardson. I don't think the Heat absolutely, shit the bed, but they definitely made a little stain in the sheets.
Take a poop in front of us.
And then turn it into wine.
Turn that poop into wine.
Turn that poop into wine.
Obviously now with Jrue Holiday being in Portland, he's a prime target possibly for the Heat to go out and get. Other teams like the Celtics I've seen were interested, but I don't think that that's a upgrade or, not an upgrade obviously from Damian Lillard because they never had him in the first place, but it's like a consolation prize almost. I think they have to now go out, though, full force and get Jrue Holiday if they actually want to compete this year, because even though they surprised everyone with their roster last season, I don't think they're doing that again, especially with their roster being even more depleted than it was before, and I don't think there's enough guard play, or quality guard play, rather, on this Heat team for them to be a serious contender in the East without picking up a guy like Jrue Holiday. Anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to be done talking about Damian Lillard for the foreseeable future until he starts playing basketball with the Bucks, and then we can talk about Damian Lillard again all we want. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out our other socials in the links in the description, our Instagram, our TikTok, our Spotify, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. If you did enjoy, make sure to stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Sir, you have a little bit of poop inside your testicles.